something else.
Well, looking at solo queue data, which to be fair is not pro play, Broken Blade and Licorice are better than any player any of us have ever seen in solo queue. Irelia's favored in the matchup. Irelia actually wins more than average, and Kennen loses more than average against, you know, the field compared to this matchup. So this should look a little bit Irelia favored, at least according to reasonably high elo solo queue. Regardless, TSM have a very spicy lane. Let's look at this, right? Kate Morgana, you're right. With the Karma counter pick, it's a little bit harder of a lane to play, but TF's going to show up in one of those lanes. If you're pushing down as Ashe Karma, good luck with that one. If you're pushing with Kennen, good luck with that one. TS going to make you die. There's a lot of explosive damage here, so this gets really spicy. TSM, I like this comp a lot. The only difficulty is frontline is a little squishy. Sett jungle is a little bit light for my taste, and that can be difficult if you get behind in gold. Otherwise, you're getting free fired on, you get dark binded by Morgana, and you're probably just dead before that thing drops as Ashe throws damage into you. At the same time, though, you've got explosive team fighting on the other side, right? Cloud9, this can look really, really nice with the fact that Kennen flanks, we just saw them dismantle an entire game from Monster.
But TSM has an incredible amount of CC. There's lots of setup for the Caitlyn traps, you know, gold card, binding, even Irelia stun or the Sett clap. If you can land the stun there, potentially can trap out of that. I will say, you know, even if it is Irelia, you know, having the ability to win that lane later on, my experience definitely of Kennen is that Kennen, you know, wins pretty much all these range versus melee matchups, at least for the first early levels that you are going to have push. I do think that post 6, Irelia has potential to all in the Kennen, and that's where it can get more dangerous. But you know, there are answers, there are ways for Cloud9 to even deal with the TF, and I think one of those is, can Azir have the push, right? And if Azir can actually keep Bjergsen locked under his turret, if Nisqy can consistently push it in, you know, we did see that there was that nerf on TF. The W obviously is going to be a longer cooldown, which means you are going to push a little bit more slowly, you have less access to the blue cards to refill the mana, the red cards to push it out. That's something where they could get an advantage. If Azir has him locked, if the 2v2 is going well for Zven and Vulcan and they can push with impunity because TF is stuck under his turret, then things can start to get tough, I think, for TSM.
I like this little play here that Cloud9 did. Licorice comes down to be in range for ward XP. I believe if only 3 champions share, you get level 2 off of the first wave as a solo laner. So Blaber reveals it, lets Nisqy get the last hit, and Licorice helps to leech that one away. So that can help the lane a little bit here, as we're going to see the junglers do leashless starts with their respective red buffs. TSM, Doublelift, and Treatz want to go right away into attacking this lane. Again, bot lane is really, really volatile. Whoever gets the push has a really big lead in that one. Top lane can be really volatile as well. As you're saying, Kennen probably feels comfortable in the very early levels against melee. As time goes on, that can flip when the all-in becomes a reality. Meanwhile, Bjergsen having to play really far back about the fact that Nisqy can, right, he's already level 2. He pushed in the first wave. He shared wave XP, or ward XP, and Bjergsen just has to lose 300 health.
Yep, and he is going Comet. You can see Vulcan is going Comet as well. They're indexing more highly towards the laning phase. You know, this is not Airy, this is not Guardian, this is, you know, the Karma going for Comet here and trying to bully this lane. They're going to have push. They're going to look to pressure. One of the things that's also very nice about the lethal tempo Ashe is that you hit them with the volley, you proc the lethal tempo, and then you can use all that bonus attack speed to actually constantly shove in that wave even more heavily. And you can see as a result, Doublelift already missed 3 minions. You know, when you are getting pushed in nonstop by this Karma, by this Ashe, it can be difficult. Some of these minions aren't always going to come to the turret, you know, at the right amount of health.
And you can see them trading back and forth. Vulcan puts on the shield, says, okay, let's go hit you a little bit, deal some damage back and forth. Of course, we are Relic Shield here, despite the Spell Thief's buff from the previous patch. And I do think Spell Thieves would have been fairly viable in this game, especially with how C9's playing the lane out. Yep. They're still going for the safer options on both sides, and the guaranteed gold income and the durability in case things go wrong.
I do think it's a good point, because specifically when you are playing this style of matchup, when you're going to play Comet Karma, you don't have the mana regen, you are actually going to run out of mana. You're not going to be able to press Q on cooldown the whole time, right? You know, and especially when he's using some of his abilities fairly aggressively to trade. You know, we saw he use the E for the speed up, shield himself to try to dodge a binding, and then he can go in for some of those auto attacks. Spell Thieves would give you a lot more mana regen to be able to kind of continue up that harass, but it's obviously higher risk, higher reward, because you don't have the same amount of health that you would have here with that Relic Shield, and you also have to be constantly putting yourself at risk to go for those plays. But it looks like they're trying to poke them down and potentially set up a dive here. If they could get more damage down onto Doublelift. Remember, there's no heal on Doublelift. It's TP, so there is potential to actually pull off a dive, but they're not going to go for it. They don't know exactly where the Sett is, and haven't quite got Doublelift or Treatz low enough to signal a dive.
And ultimately, Spica just ends up skipping his Krugs. He takes top Scuttle, and then pretty standard stuff, right? You recall by 4 minutes, you get back to where you started, that's when your camps come back up. For now, though, we're seeing Spica head towards the top side in case there's a play. Licorice has to be respectful of the fact that he's in a 1v2 before too terribly long. Spica's around, tried to stay in fog. I believe he got seen, and out goes the
sucks. So this is actually kind of awkward for him. He does have a ward there, but it is on a pink, so he can't actually see anything. And this wave is horrible. So that's why he's kind of in this awkward spot.
Good early damage. Licorice down to about half HP already, and burns the flash. Not sure he had to. Broken Blade could Q again, but there was no extra stun. Either way, Licorice says, I don't want any part of this one. I'm out. Blaber can fight for a ward, I guess, but this is now a really difficult top lane as the TV comes back in because he needs to shut this wave out.
Yeah, that was actually really, really tough. Licorice got put in a pretty bad spot. He was doing fairly well in farm, but because he just had a wave or two denied from him, it is going to be Broken Blade in the lead. Licorice, did not have the cover there from Blaber. Sett could have been in that area, so Licorice had to play with respect to that. And as a result, the wave got frozen, and Broken Blade's going to be sitting in a great spot. Nisqy also forced to flash, so now Spica going to be liking his chances.
Well, the entire Wolf camp was taken. Spica was able to get its Gromp on the way downwards, but because of top lane pressure, they at least denied Wolves away from him, plus made him lose the time. Recall's coming through now across the map. Doublelift with the black shield on. Nicely played. Vulcan knocks it down with his Q. Gets the root, and Doublelift is going to be hiding on the backhand side. Did have to go Doran's shield on Caitlyn of all things. How aggressive this Ashe Karma lane can be. Has to play the more defensive option. Bind gonna land from Treatz, but eventually Doublelift will get his recall off. Should be able to afford BF Sword, does so indeed, so not too bad.
Oh, this is actually a really aggressive TP, so he's trying to force them to stay around because his jungler is behind, but either way it will get actually pushed in the turret. That's not a common marksman teleport to see, but because Spica was behind him and because Zven and Vulcan were out of mana and hadn't base, you can actually go for that. And these recalls, if they do get stopped, it would be pretty devastating. Either way, they're going to lose at least a full wave because this is not a cannon wave recall. So Zven, will, as a result, and will be pretty much even on farm. They're going to take this time instead to go for plates. They are going to go for that dragon and grab the first dragon here for themselves. So the 2v2 going in the favor of Cloud9, they did have the push and force out this recall and will have summoner advantage, but TSM going to be feeling pretty good overall. After that TP is used, they're pretty much even. They got a dragon. Things are looking nice.
And so right there, what you just saw, that is what TP buys you. The entire wave was lost from Zven of both gold and experience, plus allowing Doublelift to also help with the Drake to make sure it's completely safe, that no one's going to stop that. That is what you get from burning teleport at about 6 minutes in the lane. Yes, I still think C9 could have played that bot lane slightly better and recall in front of Kennen. They would have still lost the Drake, but they would have lost less gold and experience. But regardless, this is the state we are now in, where the game is once again pretty much tied in gold. Doublelift, once again, very close on farm overall. And hey, Drake advantage to TSM is going to feel pretty good for the early game.
Yep, one of the big advantages right now for TSM is that neither of the C9 soul laners have their flash, so we have to track, can Spica actually make anything happen in this next couple minutes? A few minutes have passed since they did get burned, but thus far, not much has come from it, but you can see them pushing Doublelift back. About a third of his health knocked down there, but he still has 3 biscuits. He's not really in much danger. I would be surprised if he actually completed this recall. I do think that's just him kind of messing around a little bit because he has a lot of sustain with those 3 biscuits plus his Doran shield and fleet footwork. This is a fairly defensive kind of survive the lane style setup. And you can see Blaber again moving up here with Licorice to make sure that he does not get the wave frozen on him again. But Broken Blade has done great, and now there's no flash, and you are in trouble.
Ult to top side. When is Licorice going to get to ult? Not going to be in time. First blood top side, and Blaber has to run for his life. TSM get the first kill on the board. Bjergsen gets right up there. Broken Blade gets the assist on that one.
Very well done by TSM. They do find that window to punish the flashless Kennen, but now they are getting pushed in pretty hard on this bottom side. They have lost the turret plate, are getting poked out. Here it is one more time. They escort in that wave, so they know that Volibear is probably in the area, but Bjergsen is here, and there's not really much of a chance there for Licorice to survive whatsoever. Spica would have been there even if Blaber was there a little bit earlier, so they still would have had the man advantage. TSM, though, starting up this Rift Herald.
Oh, 400 health left on that one. Ult is going to come across for the dunk. Spica gets the double stun, though, and Bjergsen's there as well. Look at the damage output. Nisqy trying to get away. The Volibear redunk, though, and that should be 2 kills picked up to C9. Broken Blade can't get out. This is the kind of C9 we used to see in the first half of the split. The willingness to fight, the ability to win them.
And TSM couldn't even pick up the eye. So they got the Rift Herald, but they don't actually get the eye, so they really get nothing out of it. So in the end, it is just the 2 kills for 0, a tiny bit of kill gold on the actual monster itself there. But C9 coming out very heavily ahead. And this was a bit of a risky take for TSM. As you can see, Bjergsen, he's under his turret and has no TP or ultimate. So Nisqy is always going to be the one that gets here first. They just didn't expect, that Kennen would be able to arrive. They almost burst down Nisqy. It was actually a great flash from Spica, dunking Blaber in, then flashing in between them to clap them together, but Nisqy barely escapes. Licorice arrives. Bjergsen has to flash out. The other 2 die, and they don't get the eye. So Cloud9 right back in it. They now do have a lead and are going to be feeling a lot better about things going on the top side.
So C9 back to a gold lead, 500 up. Some of that, of course, lies to you because Twisted Fate passive does generate free gold. And, that's just going to show up on the scoreboard regardless of the actual performance of the players. But still, going to say, a close game overall. One Drake, maybe not worth 1,000 gold. Maybe I favor C9 very slightly, but certainly too early to call any victors just yet. Cinderhook finally now through for the Volibear, Broken Blade, and you can see how far back Licorice is playing, right? He is queuing for last hits with a minion wave there because Irelia will stack up the passive and she will just take him over. As far as the buffs in 10-15, they are now in effect for Irelia from level 7 onwards. She gets 10% more attack speed on a full stacked passive. That is now in effect here. So Broken Blade is finally, for the first time this game, receiving the buffs of 10.15. She was the same champion from before the patch, but now you can see he's feeling pretty comfortable in the mid game.
He is feeling pretty damn good about it. And Licorice, because he can't actually move forward to fully reset the wave, he's just been constantly stuck here. This is just like a permanently frozen wave where he's just bleeding out more and more farm. Broken Blade is always going to keep those 4 minions there, and as long as you have those 4 minions, it will be essentially a permanent freeze until, Kennen comes around or he kind of like over last hits and does break it. And there's not really much Licorice can do. I mean, sure, you can kind of walk over here and look for some vision, kill a pink ward, but it's not meaning much. But thankfully for Cloud9, Nisqy has picked up 2 plates in the mid lane. They've gotten a plate. I haven't seen if they've gotten a second one. Yeah, they have gotten 2 plates in the bottom lane. So it is that freeze for TSM up on the top side, but Licorice is still in range to get experience. And we'll see if he can actually keep the wave off his turret, because really what Broken Blade is doing is,
flash for the ulti backwards, easy stun. Bjergsen's flashless, no way out of that one, and Blaber finds himself a kill. The kinds of tower dives C9 fans are looking for. The game, though, still close, 500 apart. C9 only keeping their goal afloat with these kills.
Great kill, though. They did know that Bjergsen had no flash because he actually flashed out after the Rift Herald fight. He did have a spellbook heal, I think, there trying to survive, but wasn't able to do it. Blaber now down here on this bottom side. So is Spica. The dragon is up, so we'll see if they can actually take the dragon for themselves. But Bjergsen will be up soon, will have TP and ultimate, so it would be risky. There is no teleport on Broken Blade, though, so that is kind of the big advantage right now for Cloud9. Licorice just based. He is preparing for this fight and even grabbed sword boots for himself, delaying his proto belt. Didn't get the Kindle Gem there because he was looking for the most possible power right now in case he had to TP, because he knows he's not going to be having a fun time in this 1v1.
Yeah,
we'll see if he can get back up there and collect some of the farm. But, if they can't force something cross-map with Kennen and he's just stuck in this losing 1v1 for a really long time, it's just going to get worse and worse.
It is, and you can see right now the CS difference, nearly 40 up there. Broken Blade, I know we had talked to him, I believe, last week, and he's like, yeah, I've really been having a bad time in top lane for the first half of the split, not playing to my level. He's had a couple of carry games since then. This is the kind of game that Broken Blade is used to playing, and that TSM fans a lot have been expecting out of him is really big carry performances, counterpicking the top lane, plays an aggressive fighter, and so far so good. 32 CSD at 13 minutes. He can receive the wave if he wants to. No TP can be awkward, but this should be, I'm guessing, Ruin King done when he comes back to lane. That's why he's taking this kind of recall. Yeah, there you go. So the first big spike is there, and this means Broken Blade has absurd damage in 1v1s.
He is going to be incredibly strong, and the fact that Bjergsen also has his ultimate back, that's actually why Licorice was backing off the tower, is that Bjergsen was missing from mid lane, and anytime that's happening, you have to give respect to the TF to be looking for that dive. It's such an easy setup. If TF comes in with the gold card, you land that. That's a guaranteed Irelia stun to follow up. The ult is there. The Ruin King is going to be there, and you will just get burst down pretty much immediately. So this is a hard game now for Licorice to actually play. And he got put behind by the first TF ult. He's in a matchup that, is winning very early, but, is quickly turning into the situation where he can get all in, and he's going to have to be playing very carefully.
farm pretty close to equal here in the mid lane as Bjergsen pretty much ties it up here as he knocks things down, has a stopwatch done. Merc treads in case of more gank pressure, and here comes the play towards top side. Blaber going to dodge the stun. Licorice going to go in for this as well. Nice by Broken Blade. Flashes, jumps to minion and dodges the stun. Now here come the TPs to re-engage. Is this fight what TSM needs? Bjergsen finds the stun. Blaber has to ult away to keep himself alive, and TSM have the cavalry to keep that top lane gank from working.
Nice defensive TP there from Bjergsen. Thankfully for C9, Nisqy actually made the roam very quickly, because if Nisqy didn't make that roam, I think TSM could have continued to play and probably got kills. In the end, there are a trade of flashes, the teleport coming out, so it's not a bad attempt, but that was close to going really poorly for Cloud9. I mean, if they lose Blaber there, who has a bounty on his head, you're going to be feeling pretty bad about the play overall, and TSM did have the HP advantage, so they're starting up the Rift Herald, but Cloud9 is onto them. They spot them with the hawk shot. Nisqy is here, and it's going to force them to back it up.
Well, reveals going around. Treatz is already roamed up top side, but the Karma's right here as well as Vulcan knocks that one down. Zven even up on this side of the map as they've switched their plays around. Licorice's bot lane with teleport. Doublelift has teleport as well. They could both show. Either way, nothing going to be picked up. TF ult comes in. Licorice has to be careful. No way to get away from this one. He can ignite and do nothing else. The kill donated to Doublelift. Well played, TSM, splitting C9 around the map.
Even dropping the black shield there from Treatz onto Bjergsen as he TPs in, so Morgana can get an assist as well. Very easy setup, pretty much wherever he goes, because gold card onto Kennen is going to be followed by the Irelia stun just as easily as it's going to be followed up by that Caitlyn trap. Cloud9 will try to trade back here with the Rift Herald and should get it, as it doesn't look like C9 will be contested by TSM here. So they are trading back, but this is a very, very even game. And so far, you know, it looks like we're in for a treat. Cloud9, a couple weeks ago, you wouldn't have really given them a chance of falling outside of a bye, right? In playoffs, everyone thought they were going to be the lock for #1. Then even once they started losing a couple games, you're still like, well, even if Liquid passes them, they're for sure still going to be #2. But if they lose this game, they are tied with TSM, and TSM has the ability to pass them.
And now looking at the play as Nisqy has to ult backwards and jumps away. Not the longest of cooldowns. He's got Nash's tooth, so he's going to stay alive. But you can see the kinds of plays TSM are able to make. A ton of farm on Doublelift, 172 at 16.5 minutes. Broken Blade at 151. Not a bad cliff either. They've certainly got agency in the right champion's hands as Zven is pushing down the mid lane. He's got a ton of farm, highest in the game. Got to give him credit where that one's due. Ashe Karma, one of the most abusive duos you could possibly play against. They did a good job of that one. But no real plates taken at the end of the day. Mid lane had been cracked finally. Bot lane cracked as well from the TSM side.
You know, one of the problems I'm kind of seeing here from Cloud9 is their only really good go button is the Ashe arrow. Yes, you can go for a flank engage or something like that, but they don't really have anyone who's actually very good at answering side lanes. You don't really want Azir against the Irelia in a side lane. You don't really want the Kennen stuck there either, with TF being able to ult in on top. Like, so you're going to be kind of just permanently losing side lanes for the rest of the game. And if that's the case, then you need to be able to force at objectives or find and engage. And I don't think the Cloud9 have the absolute best ways to do that. We'll see if they can win this dragon fight, because if they can take a second dragon, then they can force TSM to come to them on the subsequent ones as they threaten Soul as a win condition. So this is a hugely important fight for C9.
Here we go, Ocean Drake getting pushed down rapidly by TSM. Blaber's going to walk forward. Smite's going to come through on Spica's side. TSM secures
Licorice.
that one. Blaber going to ult back outwards. Licorice not yet going in. There's the stun to the front line. They're going now. Doublelift forces a flash away, and rooted up means nothing else. Into the back line goes Broken Blade. Wants those kills. Gets one. Looks for number 2. Nisqy's very, very low. Licorice on the way out, and they're going to pick up a couple of kills still. Flash away, but still rooted in place. TSM wiping the floor with Cloud9. And Zven, you are next. We cut you for a reason, buddy, and it's because we can force red cards. He's going to walk away.
Oh no, Bjergsen actually had 2 chances at the gold card there. So he does let him go away. We'll just say,
They let him go.
What's
You know,
a life between friends?
it's a double entendre.
Go back home and tell everyone else. Break the warnings to the C9 base.
Send
what
the
happens
message.
if you go to the goal, you know, if you go to the Dragon Pit. But here it is again, TSM coming out on top in this fight. They do land the smite, and then they do look for this engage, and critically Licorice did not have his flash, and exhaust is available on the Morgana. So despite the fact that Licorice finds a pretty good angle and the stun was there, the Ashe arrow landed onto Doublelift, exhaust comes down, Black Shield and Guardian are there as well. You can see then Spica finding the angle, dunking Licorice back into his team. Doublelift was still pretty much full health after that, and him and Bjergsen just stepping forward, taking the kill after kill after kill. Very nice fight for TSM. They do miss out on what should have been a pretty easy kill over on Zven. Actually, he had his cleanse, to be fair, so it actually might have just made no difference at all. But either way, TSM coming out on top majorly, and with them having the dragon lead plus the side lane advantage, it's kind of like, all right, Cloud9, now you're really in a tough spot. You've got to try to find a way to dig yourself out of this with some good picks or some outplays or something, but Licorice is just going to fall more and more into kind of the useless category, it does feel like, when...
Unless you can get a full flank.
Yeah,
right?
but
he
even
came in
if
from
you
the side
do,
and it wasn't enough.
even if you do, if there's exhaust there and Sett dunks you out, like that's
Sure.
tough, right?
It is.
There's a lot of answers.
There are, so we'll see what C9 can do. I want to point out that, you know, the first 10 minutes of this game were not too atypical, right? Cloud9 have good laners, TSM have good laners. What Cloud9 was dominating with, the reason they were 9-0, the reason everyone gave them the nod for winning this split outright and going back-to-back and being the most dominant team ever, was from 10 to 20 was when they would just throw a 7,000 gold lead on you and take the game over. TSM have weathered that so far, still weathering this as Bjergsen's here. And here's Licorice's attempt to find the stuns. He gets a bit of damage, but as you mentioned, the CC is there and no kills have come through. Redemption's going to top them all back off, and that was the kind of TP flank that they were looking for. That's what C9 hoped would happen, and it did nothing at all.
It didn't do much. And that was double TP, actually, because they even used the one from Nisqy. And now Doublelift is actually just going to TP to top lane and take this tower. And Doublelift is ridiculously fed. He is a lot of the team fight threat here. He's level 13. He's higher than the solo laners on C9 right now. He already has IE Essence Reaver, so he went for a very expensive build. He has been gifted, actually, an incredible amount of solo experience. He's even higher than the solo laners on his own team. That is so rare to see a marksman player be the highest level in the game. You know, Treatz has been kind of making sure he has a safe farm, that he's getting all that solo experience, and they're getting him to a ridiculously strong point. This is an expensive build, but when you hit 3 items as an IE Essence Reaver Rapid Fire Caitlyn, those headshots will hurt so much. And really on anyone except Blaber, that is going to be a very significant portion of your health. You know, you get 2 autos on someone like the Karma or on someone like Zven, and all of a sudden they can't fight anymore.
Well, they're going to have to try because TSM are going to keep the siege going. 650 range on the Caitlyn. Black Shield when needed in case there's engaged tools. Goodbye to this turret. There's a Hurricane and an Executioner's calling for Zven. That's going to be something to the board. But at this point, the TSM siege can continue. You've got Lichbane coming in next for Bjergsen. By the way, Majai's already picked up. He's going to scale great onto this one. TSM going to feel comfortable in every single matchup they could want. 30 CSD in the top lane for Broken Blade. There's really no stopping this TSM train.
There isn't. It's going to be up to C9 to find some sort of way to actually push the pace, because TSM is happy to just play side lanes, continue pushing 3 lanes, continue threatening. You can see it's Cloud9 that is going to have to group up more heavily. Licorice can go out and try to answer these waves. The Protobelt does help you clear that out pretty quickly, so his wave clear is okay. But it's problematic because every time you do send him out to answer, Broken Blade has TP and Bjergsen can ult in on you, and great, you had cleanse that time. That is well played, but that's cleanse down. He has no flash. He has no TP. He's stuck in this side lane, and Bjergsen's going to be able to rinse and repeat on these plays much more often than you're going to have the answer yourself.
So this game, 5 seconds now till third Ocean Drake, or third Drake, which is Ocean, comes up. Third for TSM, I should really say, because here it is. The fight could begin, and TSM have been showing they have control. Trapline comes down. That's going to be real annoying to deal with on the Cloud9 side. Bit of poke out from the Azir. Traps come right back down. Damage towards Blaber. That hurts a whole lot. It's going to be another smite fight. This time is picked up by Blaber, and there's the engage. Is this what C9 needed? Oh, it is not. The dunk comes in. Good luck surviving this one. Re-engage here for Licorice, but only to save his team from dying, because that's easily going to be 3 kills picked up. And where is number 4? Because Bjergsen is looking for the re-engage. This time he's got the gold card. Vulcan can cleanse it. He can run for his life. He will stay alive. But it's time to run to bear, and TSM are taking over this game.
Absolutely destroying Cloud9 in these team fights. Doublelift with the full trap line. Cloud9 just struggling to get in, and with exhaust available, even if Licorice reaches the back line, it just doesn't seem to matter. He is behind, he is getting exhausted. They do not have enough damage to threaten this TSM backline. Caitlyn is just steadily autoing away, and I've got to give credit to Zven. He's finding great angles. Both these dragon fights, he hit the ultimate Doublelift. you know, he finds this angle here in between Spica and Bjergsen to actually land the ulti here. This was really well played. Look at him move to the very top, just above Spica, nails Doublelift. The Black Shield wasn't there, probably because Treatz didn't even realize he was at risk. But then you jump in, he just gets back out of there. He has the Black Shield. He's staying very far away at range, and you know, they just can't get the access. As soon as Licorice goes forward, he's immediately exhausted. They're always going to save that for him. And Licorice just has no threat right now. TSM are positioning really, really well and just executing even better in these teamfights. This is a TSM that can threaten for being the best team in the league. You know, this is a TSM that their fans have been waiting for honestly the last couple years, that TSM fans were hoping they were going to get with the return of Doublelift. And here they are in the end of Summer Split, you know, reaching this really high level form, taking down Cloud9, or at least looking like they're in position to do it. Bjergsen just had an incredible Zillion game yesterday. I mean, if Bjergsen and Doublelift are playing, you know, at their peak level, these guys could beat anybody.
Azale, all I see in my mind is the meme of Doublelift as the Grim Reaper walking down the hallway, knocking on the doors and taking the heads. Not only are they playing Cloud9 today and beating them handily, they play TL next week. And by the way, once TSM wins this game, they're only 2 games behind Team Liquid. And one of those 2 games is against Team Liquid. Hey, if Immortals knocks down TL for them next week, TSM can fight for first in the regular season, not just, of course, first in the playoffs, not just the first round bye by taking maybe a tiebreaker against C9, because right now they're going to be tied for second in the standings. TSM can just say, no, 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 number 1 from start to finish, from regular season, through playoffs, through to Worlds, let's go. This roster is showing us it is at least possible for them. The quality of play has been increasing over time. The new look in summer looking pretty solid here. So TSM, still, 6,000 gold, ready to close this out before too long. A minute left in the Baron buff, and C9 have not shown us signs of being able to withstand this pressure.
They haven't whatsoever. Pretty interesting build here for Broken Blade. They are just going to push 1-3-1 here with this Baron buff, but Death Dance plus Blade of the Rune King, not something I've really seen. Generally speaking, you pretty much always see a Triforce or a Black Cleaver for that 20% CDR, but Licorice, you're in trouble again, my friend.
Big stun, big ult, goodbye. During the duration of a gold card, they have shut him down again. A dunk backwards, maybe Broken Blade will lose his life. It's a lot of damage, he will be shut down. So some gold on the board, a little bit there for Cloud9, but it's still TSM knocking down the top lane tier 2.
And Doublelift has the range to safely siege here. There's not a lot of threat. As long as Spica stands in front of him, you can't get actually hit by the Ashe arrow. Turret is gone, and he has that trap line, but now he gets hit by that arrow.
Black Shield a little bit late. Damage from Doublelift. Blaber could go in, has the ulti waiting at the Black Shield's going to find some slows. Is it going to be enough damage? Not nearly enough. Blaber just gets shut down. 3-item Caitlyn has a lot of DPS. 17 stack mid-shies. Lichbane. A lot of damage from Bjergsen there as well. Blaber cannot be tanky enough. He's all armor, and that is 300 AP onto Bjergsen. So that is a kill through. And again, C9 cannot find the openings.
That engage felt a little bit desperate from Blaber there, trying to go forward. He saw low health bars on multiple members there from TSM, but you know, you are not on a champion that can just 100-0 or even like 60-0 by yourself. You need the backup to be there. His teammates did not have flash, they did not have the arrow, they didn't have the ability to actually catch up and follow up on that engage. So as a result, yeah, he chunks Bjergsen and Doublelift quite low with that initial damage, you know, from his ultimate and the W, but there's not anything afterwards to finish him off, and does end up going down. Doublelift picks up an entire Lord Dominix off of that base. So we saw how quickly Blaber died before. Well, it's about to get a whole lot faster, and TSM now are threatening the Ocean Soul. I think this would be, you know, well and truly game over for Cloud9 if they are not able to contest it, and it doesn't look like they have any chance to do so.
Well, it's going to be Soul Point, thankfully, for Blaber. He was able to steal the last one, so at least they're not getting Soul yet. But yes, I mean, you can clearly see they are like, yeah, let's just clear some waves. TSM, you have shown us time and again your fighting is too strong. They don't have the damage. IE is at least done for Zven. His frontline damage goes up a little bit. These items are slowly growing in the C9 inventories, but it is still a nearly 7,000 gold lead. In 5 minutes, the frontline becomes invincible. Azale, that Ocean Soul, I think, does completely signal game over if it comes through in 5 minutes. As it stands, TSM are walking over this one.
Clearly my brain was not working there. I
That's
had
okay.
Completely that they had gotten it. So obviously a pretty critical smite on the previous fight that Blaber was able to get it. Azir is scaling. You know, that is something working for them. You know, maybe going towards a Void Staff here. He does already have 2 items. That could be pretty nice for them. And they have multiple forms of healing debuffs with the Executioners, as well as that Bramble Vest to try to help negate some of the healing, especially that's going to be done by Broken Blade. So there is a world in which C9 can win, but it is getting smaller and smaller, less and less likely. And
Danger.
Nisqy, you are dead.
Danger, Nisqy, dunked into the wall. Goodbye. Goodbye. TF not needed. How about a 980 damage critical strike to the head? As again, kills come through. Doublelift takes another name on the list.
It can
It's
end.
time for the inhibitor to die.
They can actually keep pushing if they want to try to risk it. I don't know if they're going to continue going for it. I don't think they will, now that I see Broken Blade not even threatening on the bottom side. I thought they could try to threaten on multiple angles. Instead, they'll just take the much safer play. They'll move towards the Baron, moving Broken Blade up towards the mid lane so he can push that in. The rest of the team will move into the jungle and actually just get vision here as they wait for that Baron to spawn. That should be theirs, no contest, absolutely. Nisqy's still not up for 12 more seconds and does not have teleport, so even if he does spawn in time, there's no way for them to really challenge here. The gold lead expanding and expanding even further.
Well, goodbye to the Baron. Picked up yet again. No problem at all. Spike not needed. They're going to save that one in case it matters some other point in time. You can see the headshots do a whole lot of damage to monsters.
1800, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's bonus damages on top, but yeah, that is a lot of damage there. Negative armor on red buff. It's, you know, it's inflated numbers to be clear. QSS comes through for Doublelift. He chugs the red elixir. He's ready to go. In case there is some kind of a chance, then in case that arrow does land, Double's going to get away from that one. If the black shield's light, he can still cleanse that one out. More items coming through. Black cleaver nearly done on Broken Blade.
And honestly, Zven has been incredible landing the arrows. Like, I think it's actually really hard to consistently land those arrows onto a Caitlyn who has long range and who has Black Shield and who has those people around him. He's been finding the angles and finding the timings. He's been landing the arrow on Doublelift almost every single time, and they're still losing the fight. So now, who do you even shoot it at, right? Like, it's not a lot of good options for him there. Unless they can force out the QSS from something else, which basically seems like pretty much a 0% chance because there's nothing else he really would ever need to cleanse. Doublelift is just pretty much not an option anymore.
Well, that's the problem because Doublelift has 330 CS, 6 kills, and 4 major damage items. If he's not an option to kill, he's just going to kill you. So I guess it sucks to be Cloud9 right now because they're about to drop to 11-5. Their first 0-2 week of the year is about to be in front of them. They're looking for the try again. This time, it will miss as an arrow, but here comes the TP flank. This is the attempt. Can it happen for Cloud9? Damage comes through, and Doublelift has been killed. But can they do the rest? Broken Blade flashes in, looks for kill number 1, grabs that one, looks to the re-engage. The top laner's dead. Zven is next. Broken Blade cleans at the back line. Vulcan's going to be next. How about a quick triple kill? No problem at all. The ace nearly in. Blaber is the only one alive, and TSM will tie for second. They have control of their playoff destiny. They can control the pace for a playoff bye. They have finally peaked at the right time. Cloud9 will fall. TSM will be the one to do it, and they will take that Nexus.
TSM looking so